Ever wonder what separates a high-flying company from one that just never seems to get off the ground? It's not always the product. More often than not, it's this powerful, almost invisible force, management. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on what that really, truly means. I mean, we've all seen it, right? You get a team filled with absolutely brilliant people, but it just descends into total chaos. And then, another team with the exact same resources goes on to achieve incredible things. So what's the difference? Well, as we're about to see, it almost always comes down to management.
And it really boils down to this simple, yet kind of profound idea. Management is the art of getting things done through others. It's a beautifully simple definition for a deeply complex process. See, it's not about you being the one doing all the work, but about creating an environment where the work gets done and done well by everyone else.
So, let's get into it. What is management really? Beyond that simple definition, it's the invisible process that pretty much shapes our entire working world. The thing about management is it's intangible. You can't hold it in your hand, you can't see it, but you can absolutely feel it. You feel its presence when a project just flows seamlessly, when morale on the team is high, and of course, when the results just speak for themselves. And believe me, you really feel its absence when chaos takes over. Good management is the secret ingredient.
Okay, so fundamentally, management has 4 core traits. First, it's universal. Every organization needs it, whether it's a giant corporation or a tiny startup. It's also purposeful, meaning every activity is driving toward a specific goal. It's a social process because, let's be honest, it's all about people. And finally, it has to be dynamic, always ready to adapt to whatever the world throws at it.
All right, this leads us to a classic debate, one that people have been having for ages. Is management an art or a science? Is it this structured discipline with hard and fast rules, or is it more of a creative act that really depends on intuition and personality? So you've got these two camps, right? On one side, you have the case for science, a systematic, data-driven approach. On the other side, you have art, which relies on creativity, skill, and gut instinct. The truth is, the very best management is a masterful blend of both. Now, the scientific case is pretty strong. Thinkers like F.W. Taylor argued that you could study management systematically. There are established principles like division of work. There's clear cause and effect. If you improve incentives, productivity usually goes up. It's all about using data to make logical, calculated decisions. But then there's the art. You could read every management book ever written, but actually applying that knowledge, that takes personal skill, creativity, and practice. It's like knowing music theory versus actually playing the guitar. In fact, some call it the art of arts because it's about organizing and harnessing the most valuable and unpredictable resource we have, human talent. Okay, so we've established it's this blend of art and science. But what do managers actually do all day? Let's break down their core functions. You can think of a manager's work as this continuous cycle. It all starts with planning, figuring out the goals. Then comes organizing, all the resources, and staffing the right team for the job. After that, it's about directing the action. And finally, controlling, which is just checking the results against the plan, which, you guessed it, informs the next round of planning. And the cycle just keeps on going. Now, this is a really important distinction to make. People throw these terms around interchangeably all the time, but they play very different roles. You could say one is the creator while the other is the optimizer. The biggest difference really comes down to risk and focus. The entrepreneur, they're the owner. They bear all the financial risk and are totally focused on starting and growing the business. The manager, on the other hand, is an employee. Their reward is a salary, and their focus is on making sure the systems already in place run smoothly, day in and day out. So what skills does a manager actually need? And are they the same for everyone? Well, no. As you start to climb that organizational ladder, the skills you need begin to change pretty dramatically, actually. Typically, we can think of management as existing on 3 distinct levels. Each one has its own unique focus and its own set of responsibilities. And the skills you need really shift as you move up. At the lower levels, you need strong technical skills to really understand the work that's being done. In the middle, it's all about interpersonal or people skills. You're the translator between strategy and action. And then, at the very top, you need powerful conceptual skills to see the big picture and steer the whole ship. So this hierarchy creates this amazing cascade, turning big ideas into real action. The top-level folks, like the CEO, set the long-term vision. Middle managers translate that vision into concrete plans, and the lower-level supervisors make sure those plans actually get executed, day to day, on the ground. So, with all this complexity, where do managers even turn for guidance? Well, for over a century now, many have looked to the foundational work of a guy named Henri Fayol. He basically laid out a timeless playbook for how to do this whole management thing effectively.
Fayol is often called the father of modern management, and for good reason. He was one of the first people to argue that management wasn't some innate talent, but a skill that could actually be taught, and that it followed a set of core principles. And what's amazing is just how relevant they still are today.
Fayol's first set of principles is all about creating structure and just eliminating confusion. You have things like division of work to make things more efficient, unity of command so employees aren't getting conflicting orders from different bosses, and the scalar chain for a super clear line of authority. This is basically the blueprint for a well-oiled machine. But Fayol knew it wasn't just about structure. It was about the people. He talked about principles like equity, basically treating employees with a mix of kindness and justice, stability of tenure, recognizing that having people constantly quitting is really bad for business, and maybe most importantly, initiative and esprit the core, which is all about empowering your people and building a real, genuine team spirit.
And that really brings us to the challenge for every leader today. In our age of AI, remote teams, and constant change, which of these century-old principles matter the most? Is it something like unity of direction to keep a scattered team aligned on the same goal? Or is it esprit de corps to build a strong culture when nobody's in the same room? That's the big question every manager has to answer right now.